Iran gets together with Saudi Arabia through China. And China's taken over. And China, I heard a couple of people say, well, the dollar will never lose the dollar standard. Are they kidding? China wants to change the standard, the currency standard. And if that happens, that's like losing a world war. We'll be a second-tier country. We'll literally be a second-tier country if that happens.
Absolutely true. And you compare that with Warren Buffett that we played in the last segment, where he's like, oh, we'll never lose our reserve currency. There's no alternative. It's like, you kidding me, Warren? Come on, man. Christopher Alexander is here. He's the CCO of Liberty Blockchain. Mr. Alexander, how are you, sir?
Very, very good. Thank you.
Great for you here. I want to talk about losing the reserve currency in a minute, but more importantly with you, I want to talk about Central Bank Digital Currency, CBDC. Can you explain what this is and why I think you and I both agree this is not only a huge problem, but like the biggest problem right now? What is CBDC?
Well, it sounds like crypto, Bitcoin, as people who are enthusiasts of decentralized finance would think or like it to be, but in every way it's the opposite. It's essentially the US government creating its own crypto coin, which, because of the very openness that you find on the blockchain and you find with something like Bitcoin, the US government could use for further and increased surveillance on your financial activities.
So is it as simple as saying the federal government would be aware of and be able to monitor and control every purchase you make? Is that too simplified?
No, control might be a little strong in that they're going to be able to see it. You would have presumably a digital wallet that they could access at any time to levy fines against, pull taxes out, do whatever they would want to do with. And then they would track everything. So forget over $600. They would look at every single thing you did, and it would be recorded permanently on presumably some sort of US government blockchain.
Yeah, I'll add in the control part because clearly I definitely would see them saying, oh, you've spent too much money on this. Whether it's too many guns or too much money on meat or too much money on fuel or too much gas or whatever, right? Like they can certainly would be able to pass laws after that.
Oh, I follow. Yes, absolutely. I think the Obama administration did that by pressuring the credit card companies to reject credit card purchases for guns. So they would definitely have the ability to bar transactions to certain merchants with that system, most certainly.
Okay, so this is interesting. I understand why this would be different than cash, right? Cash the government can't know about. But how is it different than the credit cards already? Because that's one of the claims that people always make whenever you talk about a privacy issue. It's like, oh, I got nothing to hide, or they already know everything anyway. So how is this different than credit cards?
Here's the fundamental difference. The US government can't pull the balance off your credit card because they've decided to fine you or take additional taxes from you. They could absolutely do that with the CBDC. I think that's the fundamental difference.
Yes. Yeah. But they'll say, oh, it's all about stopping tax fraud, or it's all about efficiency, or it's all about stopping the drug trade, or something like that.
And to that, I would just say every dictator in history has come to power because they were solving what they claimed was an existential crisis and needed more power. So it's not about the system as it exists now. It's the potential for abuse should someone try to abuse it that I think people should be concerned about.
Yeah, very few people see that. Okay, so what steps have they made, and do you see them making to get us to a central bank digital currency?
Well, there's development in progress that's going on. One, there was strategic guidance that came from the administration on two fronts. One about developing this, which the Biden administration argues will allow for easy transfer of payments and the like, and be a convenience. On the other end of this, they're also going after the decentralized, non-nation state crypto in a staggering and kind of frightening, with a frightening veracity, frankly. The SEC has kind of run amok. There's a leaked memo now from the Democrats on the Hill saying that they want to go after crypto. Less than 1% of crypto transactions are involved in fraud, yet we repeatedly hear someone like Senator Elizabeth Warren say that crypto is this massive fraudulent money laundering enterprise. Every public strategic communication and every regulatory action right now the Democrats can use to damage non-government crypto, if you will, like Bitcoin, they are very clearly engaging with.
Amazing. They'd have to ban cash, right? In order for this to be implemented, which I don't think would be that hard of a thing. Cash is something like 20% of all payments. So they could knock that out pretty quick, right?
Absolutely. You see, increasingly, it's inconvenient to handle cash, and you see businesses, certainly here in the DC, Baltimore area, that say we no longer accept cash, which of course is horrific for the unbanked. It's interesting to note how many people who are unbanked can actually rely on crypto. I should point out, but absolutely. And again, the big difference here is they make it inconvenient for cash. You can still keep your cash, and they can't. I mean, it's very difficult for them to come get it. But at the push of a button, they could retroactively pass a tax and pull everything right out of your digital wallet that holds this new U.S. government crypto coin.
Yes, you're right. You're right. They'd have total control over the money you have too in your bank or whatever. Yeah, it doesn't take long, and it doesn't take that cynical of a mind to sit down for 30 seconds and think about all the dystopian things that a federal government could do when they have total and complete control over not only the money supply at large in our country, but your money supply in your bank account and what you spend money on and receive money about and save money on and invest money in. To give that access to the federal government, that's catastrophic.
Absolutely. And if you think they're not establishing precedents right now, the SEC has refused for years to regulate the crypto market. You're seeing that with the Ripple case. Coinbase cost the Ripple folks $200 million in legal fees to fight this, and that looks like they're going to win their case, where they're saying we're not a security and you can't regulate us. But one of the things that the SEC has been doing is refusing to engage, almost a pocket veto, then coming back and saying, oh, now you violated this, and then fining companies. Okay. That's what they did to Kraken. So if they can do it to a company, if it's in their interest, they're going to do it to an individual as well.
Absolutely. So we've been talking about solutions or hedges, which is wise things we can think about as this is all true. How would gold fit into this, right? So this blockchain stuff, this crypto, that's all new. Gold is as ancient as can be. Is there a role for gold here?
You know, it's interesting. There are efforts to NFT or to digitize gold. It's really, really complicated. It's still not the same thing. And I would point this out. At the end of the day, I can go to a jewelry store down the street. I can contact someone and I can buy gold, and I can hold it, keep it, store it. While you can argue you can hold your digital currency in what's called a cold wallet, I think while you can debate there's a store of value in each, gold is much more widely accepted than crypto and has been for several thousand years. And I think the ability, the tangibility, the physical tangibility of it is an important aspect that sets it apart from crypto.
Yeah, something you could hold in your hands. That's important and will become more and more important as things collapse and get worse. Christopher Alexander, CCO of Liberty Blockchain. Christopher, thanks for the insight. We'll definitely talk again. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. Thanks so much for watching that clip. If you want to see more truth like that, please subscribe to the first YouTube page. Just hit subscribe below.